Hi, I'm Jeff Sexton from Elgintime.com. I'm going to talk today about open face versus hunter case watches and movements. Cases can be open face or hunter, so can movements, as it turns out. I get a lot of questions about this because if you look up your Elgin serial number on my website or others, you'll see movements described as open face or hunter, and oftentimes that's not the type of case people actually have. But the thing is, when we talk about a movement being open face or hunter, we're talking about the watch inside, not the case. Cases can be open face and hunter as well. So what's the difference? Well, I'll start with this watch here. This is a hunter case watch. Okay, it's got a front cover. You press down on the crown, the front cover opens, and the movement is inside. Now, this is a hunter movement as well as a hunter case. Case has the front cover. The movement is a hunter movement. Now what makes it a hunter movement is that the seconds dial here is 90 degrees from the stem. Right, like that. That's so that when you push it open, if you hold it in your left hand and push it open, assuming right-handed, left-handed people, I don't know, you do the opposite. So that puts the 12 up at the top. That's the reason for that. Now let's compare that watch to a typical open face watch. Now this is an open face case, no front cover, and it's an open face movement. The 12 is up here, the seconds dial are up here. They're opposite each other. They're not at 90 degrees like this one. They're opposite each other, 180 degrees apart. Now these can be intermixed. They don't necessarily depend on the movement and the case type being the same. For example, let's look at this watch here. This one is an open face case. As you can see, open face case, no cover on the front. But unlike this one, the seconds dial is 90 degrees off of the stem, just like the hunter case is. This is the hunter case watch again. It's got the seconds dial 90 degrees from stem. Here we see that here. People often call these sidewinders, but all that's really going on, this isn't some special kind of watch. All that's really going on is it's a hunter case movement that's been put in an open face case. And this is actually quite common. The other interesting thing about these intermixing of hunter and open face cases is there's a dependency too on the dial, which is actually kind of arbitrary. Where the numbers are can also be different. So take a look at this watch. Now this one, here's the 12 up, but you notice the seconds hand is at 3 o'clock, and that seems kind of strange. But again, that's not really all that strange. All this really is a hunter case movement. The seconds dial is at 90 degrees to the stem, just like this one. The difference is that the dial has been rotated so that the 12 will be up when you hold it like this. So here we have a hunter case movement in an open face case with a dial that kind of makes up for it by being rotated so that the 12 and the stem are in the same position, just like a regular open face case. So that's as opposed to the sidewinder, which has the normal dial. Again, they're at 90 degrees, it's a hunter case movement, but the dial is the way a hunter case dial would typically be, with the 12 up if you were holding it in your left hand with the stem pointing to the right. So, to recap, here is the hunter case movement in a hunter case with a cover. Here is the open face movement with an open face case. The difference being the stem is 90 degrees from the seconds hand, so the internal arrangement dictates that. Here the stem is at 180 degrees from the seconds, and that's the difference between the two movements. And they don't have to be in that type of case. They can be crossed either way. It's interesting to note that Elgin, which these are, like other American companies, didn't actually make watch cases. They were selected by the customer at the point of sale and made by other companies. So just because your watch is one of these sidewinders, it doesn't mean that somebody threw away the hunter case and got it in this instead. There's no necessarily a dependency on what type of case it is. It doesn't detract from it in any way. This is actually very common. It just means somebody bought an open face case for a hunter movement. So there we have it. Hunter cases and open face cases, and hunter movements and open face movements. Enjoy your watches.